a abrupt emergency We Are Wrestling.
I think there's a lot of issues with that company.
They're going all in for these documentaries.
I want to be champion. I want to be the one to carry that flag.
Hate being a wrestling fan and love being a wrestling fan sometimes, but realize we're all just selfish pricks.
It's business.
So when guys start getting released and stuff, I got questions that need to be asked.
We are Wrestling Extra.
What is up? We are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide. I'm the host with the most, Mr. We Are Wrestling himself, the best one, Donnie here, back with my 2025 AEW Forbidden Door predictions. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already and you're listening to this wherever you get your podcast, give us a 5-star review, not just any review, a best one review, and download this extra and give us a follow. But if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, over on the YouTube channel where you get the best pro wrestling content, live episodes of the We Are Wrestling podcast every Wednesday, live watch-alongs for all the WWE and AEW Premier live events, and reactions, vlogs, everything pro wrestling. And if you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, we recommend you guys to hit that subscribe button now, turn on the post notifications. Videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO, and of course you already know the grind is real. And before we get into the predictions, I just want to let you guys know that this Sunday for Forbidden Door, if you guys are looking for somebody to watch the pay-per-view with, I will be doing a live watch-along here on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel around 12:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you guys want to talk wrestling with me and hang out and watch some AEW Forbidden Door, I will be live here on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel this Sunday for Forbidden Door. But now, with that being said, let's get into the predictions. And if this is your first time listening to a We Are Wrestling predictions, the way I like to do it, I just don't want to give you guys a winner and move on to the next match. I want to give you guys my reasons behind it. I want to maybe come up with some spoilers that I think is going to happen. And of course, talk about the build-up leading to the matches, because I feel like that's just as important as the matches on the pay-per-view. And that's something that I strongly believe in. And one thing I will say with this year's Forbidden Door for AEW, I like that it's not all AEW versus New Japan Pro Wrestling matches. I actually like that on this card. We do have AEW versus AEW, and they're keeping our regular programming stuff on this pay-per-view, which I like. And usually around this time, I like to give AEW the pass, because when it comes to Forbidden Door stuff, whether it is WWE with NXT and TNA and AAA doing stuff, or AEW doing things with CMLL or New Japan Pro Wrestling, I'm not the biggest fan of it all year round, but I do like to give them a little break when there is a Forbidden Door type of pay-per-view or Premier live event. And in this case, I will say the show is looking very stacked. I actually like this lineup a lot. And it does seem like AEW is starting to really pick up some momentum, and the shows are getting a lot better. And I hope that Tony Khan can continue to focus on AEW, don't focus on what WWE is doing, and just continue to put out the best product possible, because I think when Tony Khan and the entire roster in that locker room are focusing on All Elite Wrestling, that's when we get the best All Elite Wrestling. So with that being said, let's get into the matches for AEW Forbidden Door 2025. And starting things off, we have a lights out match, and it is going to be the Death Riders, Jon Moxley, Claudio, Gabe Kidd, and the Young Bucks versus Darby Allin, Tanahashi, Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega, and Kota Ibushi. And this match, just for me, it does seem very random, but it's basically AEW versus Death Riders and Young Bucks. This has been the ongoing storyline that it does seem like a lot of fans are losing interest in. But thank God Jon Moxley is not AEW World Champion anymore. I think that this is going to be a really fun, hard-hitting match. That's one thing about AEW. They deliver when it comes to their pay-per-views. And I do like Gabe Kidd being like the enforcer for the Death Riders. I like when he makes like those little appearances with them. But I do think that this match is on the card because they want to further storylines moving forward. I feel like we're going to be getting more with Darby Allin and Jon Moxley. I could see them two probably going at it at AEW All Out. I think having Kenny Omega and Ibushi, maybe we'll get them and the Young Bucks. We'll tease a little storyline there because there's definitely history with Kenny and the Young Bucks. I think that this match is going to be a fun one, and if I had to pick a winner, I think I'm going to have to go with the good guys on this. I don't think the Death Riders and Young Bucks are going to win this, but this is one of those matches where I do see it going either or. I could definitely see Death Riders winning this, but I think I'm going to have to go with Darby Allin, Tanahashi, Will Ospreay, and the Golden Lovers. But moving on to our next match here on the card, we have an AEW World Tag Team Championship three-way match. The Hurt Syndicate will be defending their titles against FTR versus Bandito and Brody King. Which, first off, I want to say I really like the pairing of Brody King and Bandito. I think that they have some great chemistry. And yes, it is one of those throw-on tag teams. But I think nowadays, like a lot of fans, they overreact when it comes to these throw-on tag teams, just putting two random guys together. Because back in the day, that's how we got some of our best tag teams throughout the years. And I am somebody who I feel like on television, like you need to build a relationship and you need to build the tag team together so it makes sense. Sometimes we get that, but there's other times we don't. And in this case, I really not mad about Bandito and Brody King teaming up. I actually like the pair. But there is some controversy here with the AEW World Tag Team Championships because there has been reports about the Hurt Syndicate not wanting to put FTR over, which I don't know if those reports are true or false, so take it with a grain of salt. But if that's the case, really irks me because that's my problem with a lot of these former WWE guys that go over to AEW is they feel entitled to where like they can't put other people over and it has to go their way or the highway. And if they don't like something, they just sit out throughout the rest of their contract because Tony Khan cannot be a boss. We've seen that happen with Miro. We've seen that happen with Andrade. We've seen that happen with Malachi at times. So it really does disappoint me that the Hurt Syndicate do refuse to put FTR over, which I believe that's why the reports are this being a three-way so that the Hurt Syndicate don't have to take the pinfall. And if that happens, honestly, my opinion about MVP, Shelton Benjamin, and Bobby Lashley are going to change because if you're champions, there's a time and place. And honestly, right now, the best tag team in AEW is FTR. And I will say, unfortunately, with Shelton and Bobby Lashley, they won the championships around the time where the AEW tag division was hurting. And it does seem like right now AEW tag division is like a rebuild. That's why we're getting teams like Bandito and Brody King. We're getting new tag teams like the Outrunners. We got Jet Speed. They're putting Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight together. So it seems like the AEW tag division's in a rebuild. And I think that's why maybe the Hurt Syndicate don't want to give up the titles too soon because they haven't really had a worthy rivalry for the championships. But I don't know. I think there's more money to be made with FTR versus Adam Copeland and Christian Cage, which I think is the direction moving forward. And I feel like we need to have tag team championships involved there. So with my predictions here, I'm going to have to go FTR because I do feel like these reports are true. And if that's the case, man, if I'm Tony Khan, I am trying to get out of these contracts with MVP, Bobby Lashley, and Shelton because we've been there, we've done that. AEW needs to focus on AEW. They need to focus on their own homegrown stars. But I do think that this will be a fun, hard-hitting match. Just doesn't make sense to me why the Hurt Syndicate don't want to put over FTR. That's the only thing that really confuses me. But moving on now to a match that a lot of people are looking forward to for the AEW Unified Championship. Okata will be defending his title against Swerve Strickland, and this is going to be a potential match of the night. I think Swerve and Okada, they are just two of the best pro wrestlers in the world right now. And I will say I had my doubts about this unified championship at first because I thought there was no problems with the international title. The Continental, I just thought it was a little too much. They weren't really using Okada, but I will say ever since Kenny Omega put him over at AEW All In, Okada has been on TV regularly. They've been doing a great job. Feels like we're getting the Rainmaker. Maybe not fully New Japan Rainmaker, but we are getting a better version of Okada now than we were the last couple years. And honestly, him working with Swerve, I think this is perfect because obviously we don't want Swerve and Hangman to go at it right now because I do think it's a little too soon. They just somewhat put their rivalry, rest it to bed. So I feel like we don't need to open up those can of worms just yet. So honestly, Swerve going after the Unified Championship, I think is the right move. And there is some history there with Don Callis and him. So I do like that a lot. But I do think that Okada is going to retain the championship because I did see some reports about Swerve working with a torn meniscus, with a messed up knee since 2019. And at some point, he is going to have to get surgery and take some time off. And I feel like, honestly, Swerve has had a great run the last couple years in AEW. And I do feel like he should get that knee surgery and take the time because I think when he comes back, it is going to mean something. It's going to be a lot bigger than just him having these random matches. But I think him and Okada, this would be a great way to kind of write Swerve off of AEW TV. Moving on now to our next match we have on the card. It is for the AEW Women's World Championship. Timeless Toni Storm will be defending her title against Athena. And this is one of those unpredictable matches. And one of the many reasons why I prefer AEW pay-per-views over WWE PLEs because of the unpredictability here. Because I could see it going both ways. Athena now, she's officially full-time on AEW, which I feel like this has been long overdue. And Timeless Toni Storm, she is just on the best run of her entire career right now. And she did pick up some pretty big wins recently, beating Mercedes Moné at AEW All In. So this is one that I could definitely see going either or because Athena, she is still the longest rating Ring of Honor Women's World Champion in the history of the company. And it does seem like they have a lot of stock in her. And I feel like it is only a matter of time before we do get a World Championship run with her with the AEW title. But with Timeless Toni Storm, it's tough because where does she go from here after losing to Athena? And then what's going to be the direction moving forward with Athena? So I'm kind of contemplating here either or. I feel like Athena should beat Mercedes for the TBS championship, or they should have a homegrown star beat her, but this is one that I can see going either or. I think I'm going to have to go with Timeless Toni Storm here, but I do think that we do get this match again at AEW All Out, and I think that there's going to be some type of false finish here where Athena is going to not lose clean. I think that something's going to happen, and that's going to lead to another match with Athena and Timeless Toni Storm. So I do think that Toni Storm does retain the championship here. Moving on to our next match, we have for the AEW TBS Championship, a Fatal 4-Way Forbidden Door match. Mercedes Moné will be defending her TBS Championship against Alex Windsor versus Bozilla versus Per Stephanie. And I will say, I don't really know Bozilla or Per Stephanie, but I will say Alex Windsor, ever since she made her AEW debut at AEW All In, she's somebody that I'm very interested in. I don't like that every time AEW signs a new women's star, whether it's Megan Bayne or Deonna Purrazzo, they immediately go for the AEW World Championship or TBS title. I don't like that. I wish we've gotten more time to build Alex Windsor up before we put her in a match against one of the top women wrestlers in all of AEW, and that's Mercedes Moné. I think that Mercedes will probably retain her championship. She just won her 9th title this week, and I don't see her losing the TBS championship anytime soon, even though I do feel like we need to start seeing some adversity with her and her character. I want to see her lose, and I want to see her work her way up to the AEW Women's World Championship, and I don't want it to be forced. I want it to just happen. But honestly, I would not be mad at all if Alex Windsor won this match because she's somebody that I feel like could really be a great TBS champion and somebody that I think could definitely become an established star holding that title and defending it. So I hope Alex Windsor wins, but I think realistically, it's going to be Mercedes, and it's going to be a fun, hard-hitting Fatal 4-Way match. And honestly, I'm excited to see both Bozella and Per Stephanie. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing their names right. I hope I am. Let me know in the comment section below. But moving on now to our next match here. It is for the AEW TNT Championship. Kyle Fletcher, the Protostar, will be defending his title against Takahashi. I think that's how you say his name. I'm trying here. I love Forbidden Door because it does open the door for me to watch like New Japan and CMLL and all of this other wrestling that we don't get in the United States. That's like one thing I do like about these working relationships with AEW and WWE with what they're doing with AAA and all these promotions, because it really does like open the door and you get to learn more about some of these stars that you hear really good things about. And I think that this is going to be a fun match here. I do think that Kyle Fletcher is going to retain the title because he literally just beat Dustin Rhodes. That one is pretty predictable. But I do think that Kyle Fletcher is going to have this title for a pretty long time, as he should. Moving on to our next match here on the card. It is for the New Japan IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Zack Sabre Jr. will be defending his title against Nigel McGuinness with Daniel Garcia in his corner. And is Nigel McGuinness back full-time? Because I would love to see him back in the ring. He's a great commentator, but man, he has not lost a beat in that ring. And honestly, this is going to be a great technical match. I'm really excited to see this happen. Zack Sabre Jr., one of the best technicians in all of pro wrestling right now. And then Nigel McGuinness, one of the greatest of all time as a technician. Them two going at it. This could be a potential match of the night here. And honestly, I can't wait to see what happens. Will Daniel Garcia turn heel? Maybe turn on Nigel McGuinness, and then maybe we get a feud there. So I feel like that could be a good way to really get Daniel Garcia over, having him work with somebody like Nigel, because they do have similar wrestling abilities. But man, this is going to be a great hard-hitting match. And if I had to pick, I think Zack Sabre Jr. is going to retain his IWGP championship. And this is going to be a fun, hard-hitting match. Love seeing Nigel McGuinness back in a wrestling ring. But moving on now to our second to last match before the main event, we have a tag team match. Adam Copelan, the Rated R Superstar, and Christian Cage are reuniting, and they're going against Kip Sabian and Killswitch. So originally, it was supposed to be Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian versus Adam Copelan and Christian Cage, but Nick Wayne has broke his foot, unfortunately. So now Killswitch is back. And honestly, this is going to be a great match, but I think it would have been so much better with Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian. I love that Kip Sabian's actually getting a match on a pay-per-view. He's somebody that I've been very invested in since day one. The very first match ever in AEW with him versus Sammy Guevara. I became huge fans of both of them, and I really hope that they do push Kip Sabian. I like the role that he's in right now with Mother Wayne and Nick Wayne, but it is good to see Luchasaurus Killswitch back. But it does suck that we never got that big payoff with him and Christian, because I thought that could have really took Luchasaurus to maybe a better, bigger title run or something like that. But I do think that it's not going to be perfect for Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. I think that there is going to be some chemistry problems with the two because they do have different views. And Christian Cage already said he has not changed. And you already know that these two are going to be butting heads, but I do think at the end of the day, they are going to get the job done, and they are going to make steps rebuilding their friendship in the right direction. And that is why I have Adam Copeland and Christian Cage winning this match, because if FTR is going to win the tag titles, Adam Copeland and Christian, they do got to pick up some victories so that we can have it make sense when these two go against each other. And it better be a series of pay-per-view matches, because man, Adam Copeland and Christian versus FTR could really elevate their tag division back to where it once was. But yeah, this is going to be a good one. But now let's get into our main event match, and it is for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Hangman Adam Page will be defending his world title against MJF. And let me tell you, at first, I was not happy at all about this match happening because last week on AEW Dynamite, Hangman pretty much forced MJF to cash in his title shot on Hangman at Forbidden Door. But they did find a loophole because this past Wednesday on AEW Dynamite in Glasgow, MJF found a way out of it by pretty much threatening to burn Mark Briscoe, and Hangman pretty much had to give him the title match without him technically cashing in his title shot that he won at AEW All In. I thought that was a good loophole. I'm sure Tony Khan probably heard all the negative comments about it because MJF is an opportunist, just like who just won the Money in the Bank, Seth Rollins. He's an opportunist. And it doesn't make sense for somebody who's an opportunist to cash in their briefcase or clipboard on somebody in a match that's already planned. MJF is the type of snake that would cash in when Hangman is friggin' hanging by a thread, by a needle. So obviously, I think they definitely knew they fucked up there. That's probably why this match is happening without the title shot technically being cashed in, which I like because I do think the long-term storyline that they need to do with the World Championship is give Hangman a better second title run than he had the first time. Make him a defending champion. And I will say him beating MJF is definitely could add some credibility to his title run that I believe he does need. But I do think that MJF cashes in maybe towards AEW Revolution. Then we can have another title run with MJF because that's when the ratings were all the way up, and have him hold the title until AEW All In. Darby Allin beats him with the headlock takeover because that's been their whole thing. Darby Allin finally gets his moment. That's the long-term storyline that I think AEW should do, which I could definitely see them doing something like that. But I don't see MJF winning the championship on Sunday. That's why I'm going to have to go with Hangman Adam Page retaining the title. And I just hope with this clipboard, MJF does not waste it because I do believe he deserves to have a second title run because that's when the ratings were all the way up, was when he was champion. And honestly, at MJF versus Darby Allin main event for AEW All In 2026 at Wembley, that right there is drawing money right there. That is drawing interest, in my opinion, especially for the day one AEW fans, because AEW invested so much into both MJF and Darby Allin. So to have them main event Wembley in 2026 for the World Championship, Darby getting his moment, that is something that needs to happen. But I don't see MJF beating Hangman right away. So there you have it, guys. That is my full predictions for AEW Forbidden Door 2025. Let me know in the comment section below what you think is going to happen. If you guys want to hang out with me and watch Forbidden Door, I will be doing a live watch along here on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel this Sunday, 12:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I hope to see you guys there. If you enjoyed this, make sure to smash that like button now. If you're listening to this wherever you get your podcast, give us a 5-star review, not just any review, a best one review, and download this extra and give us a follow. But if you're not a maniac, you're already over on the YouTube channel where you get the best pro wrestling content. Subscribe, turn on the post notifications. Links down in the description box below. You can go follow me over on my social medias, and you can go check out my toy channel, Best One Donnie, posting daily wrestling figure unboxings, toy hunts, all that fun stuff over there. All the links down in the description box below. But of course, to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, we are taking over. Peace.
We are Wrestling Extra.